You have a $12 coffee subscription, a $16 streaming bundle, next-day delivery on everything, and a phone that cost more than your grandfather's first car. By almost every measure that used to define rich, access, convenience, choice, you are living better than most millionaires did 30 years ago. So why do you feel poor? Not broke, not starving. Poor in a different way, like no matter how much you have access to, you own almost nothing, you're saving almost nothing, and one bad month could undo all of it. Here's the uncomfortable part. That feeling isn't random, and it isn't just the economy. It's the result of a system that was built quietly, deliberately, to make you feel rich every single day while keeping you financially exactly where you started. In the next 13 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how that system works and the one shift that gets you out of it. Stay to the end. The third reason is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's probably happening in your pocket right now. Let's make this real. Picture your week. Monday, you order coffee through an app before you even get out of bed, paid for by a subscription you barely notice anymore. Tuesday, a package arrives you don't fully remember ordering. Wednesday, you're 3 episodes into a show, scrolling a second phone in your other hand at the same time. By Friday, you've been to a concert, a wedding, and a vacation, all without leaving your feed, all through other people's photos. On paper, your life looks unbelievably rich. You have access to more entertainment, more convenience, more choice than any generation in human history. And yet, check your bank account right now, honestly, in your head. For most people your age, it doesn't match the lifestyle. There's a gap, a quiet, constant gap between how rich your life looks and how rich your life actually is. Here's the part that stings. You didn't imagine that gap. It's real and it's measurable. Wages for young people have grown slower than the cost of the basics, housing, education, healthcare, for over a decade. But somehow the feeling of richness hasn't disappeared. That contradiction, feeling rich while actually being financially fragile, is not a personal failure, it's a design. And once you see the design, you can't unsee it. Quick question. When's the last time you checked how much you actually saved last month? Not spent, saved. Would you even trust your own answer? Reason 1. You were sold access instead of ownership. Here's the first shift almost nobody names directly. An entire generation grew up being sold access to things instead of ownership of things, and it was marketed as an upgrade. You don't buy music, you access it. You don't buy movies, you access them. Increasingly, you don't even fully own the devices you use. You access a version of it, month to month, as long as the payments keep coming. Access feels incredible in the moment. It's cheaper up front, flexible, endless choice with almost no commitment. But it has one quiet cost that never gets mentioned in the advertising. You can be renting the exact same things for your entire life and end up owning nothing at the end of it. Compare that to owning one solid thing, a skill, a small, honest asset that's still yours 10 years later, appreciating quietly, while every subscription you ever paid for has already reset to zero the moment you stopped paying. You're not wrong for choosing access, but when it becomes your entire financial pattern, that's the first quiet reason the richness never adds up to anything. Reason 2. You're comparing your real life to everyone else's highlight reel. Second reason, and this one is more emotional than financial. Every generation before yours compared themselves to their neighbors. You compare yourself to a curated, filtered, algorithmically selected highlight reel of literally millions of people, updated every few seconds, all day, every day. That constant exposure resets your idea of normal, upward, faster than your income can possibly keep up. A vacation that would have felt like a huge milestone 10 years ago now feels like the bare minimum because you saw 12 people post one this week. And that feeling of falling behind doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you spend, trying to visually close a gap that was never real to begin with. Because what you're comparing yourself to was never anyone's full financial picture, just the one moment they chose to show you. Reason 3. The one nobody talks about. Your spending has been redesigned to feel invisible. This is the one I told you about at the start, the one that's probably happening in your pocket right now. Spending money used to have friction. You had to physically hand over cash, watch it leave your hand. Almost every part of that friction has been deliberately engineered away. One-tap checkout, saved card details, subscriptions that renew without a single action from you. Small purchases that feel too tiny to matter, that don't even register as spending in your head because there was no friction attached. This isn't an accident, it's a well-documented design goal. Reduce the psychological friction of spending, and people spend more often, without feeling like they're making active decisions each time. You can end a month having made 50 tiny financial decisions and be able to consciously remember maybe 3 of them. That's the trap. Not one big, reckless purchase, 50 invisible small ones, engineered specifically to not feel like decisions at all. Be honest, could you list right now every single subscription pulling money from your account? Most people can't get past 3. Let me actually show you what these 3 forces do to 2 real lives over 5 years. I want you to meet 2 people. Same age, 22. Same first job. Same city. This is Maya, and this is Josh. Maya's life looks incredible from the outside. Always at the newest restaurant, always with the newest phone, every subscription running. Her feed genuinely matches her life. She's having a great time most weeks. But every extra dollar she earns gets absorbed instantly into keeping that lifestyle running. She's not reckless. She's just never once stopped to ask where the ceiling on her spending actually is, because nothing about it ever felt like a decision. Josh's life looks almost identical for the first 2 years. Same restaurant sometimes, similar feed. But early on, he does one specific thing differently. Once a month, before anything else touches his account, he sets aside a small, unglamorous amount towards something that's actually his. First savings, then a small skill-based side income, then a modest asset that's fully his. No subscription, nothing that resets to 0. 5 years later, Maya is 27. Her lifestyle still looks great, but she owns almost nothing beyond her belongings and still feels that same quiet fragility she felt at 22, just with bigger numbers attached to it. Josh, at 27, looks almost identical to Maya from the outside, but underneath he owns something real now, not life-changing, just real and growing and his. The gap between him and actual financial security isn't luck anymore. It's just time doing what it does to something real. Here's why this matters for you specifically today. You are either Maya or Josh right now, this month, based on nothing more dramatic than where your extra money quietly goes by default. Not because you're bad with money, because the entire system around you, access instead of ownership, curated comparison instead of reality, and invisible spending instead of conscious decisions, is built to keep you exactly where Maya is. The fix isn't extreme, it's one shift. Before you let this month's extra money disappear invisibly, you take one small piece of it and convert it into something real, something that's actually yours, that doesn't reset to 0. And if you actually want to build that, not just nod along and forget this by tomorrow, subscribe now, because next episode I'm walking through the exact 3-step system I use to turn invisible spending into visible, deliberate decisions, starting with almost nothing. If today's video described your bank account uncomfortably well, that one's for you. So why does an entire generation feel rich and poor at the same time? It's not because you're bad with money, and it's not because the economy is impossible, though it genuinely is harder than it used to be. It's because the version of rich you've been sold, access, convenience, constant comparison, was never actually wealth. It was designed to feel like wealth, while quietly keeping ownership out of reach. Real financial security was never about how much you have access to in any given month. It's about how much of what passes through your hands actually becomes yours permanently before it disappears. You don't need to earn dramatically more to start closing that gap. You just need to make a small piece of your spending visible again, on purpose, every single month. If this described your bank account a little too accurately, That's the exact point. Hit subscribe if you want to actually close that gap with me. Next video, we start with the first move. I'll see you there.